No. Yeah, that's all right. I guess technically.
Okay, it's 7:04, and this is the City of Delaware Historic Preservation Commission regular meeting on June 22nd, 2016. And could I have the roll call, please?
Mr. Coleman, Mr. Kehoe,
Present.
Mr. Nicely,
Here.
Ms. Riviera,
Here.
Councilman Rohr, Vice Chairman Hatton,
Here.
Chairman Koch.
Here. Councilman Rohr called in to the office and said that he is out of town and would not be present. Can I have a motion to excuse Councilman Rohr from this meeting?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Mr. Nicely, a second from Mr. Hatton. Any discussion? Call roll, please.
Mr. Kehoe,
Aye.
Mr. Nicely,
Yes.
Ms. Riviera,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Hatton,
Yes.
Chairman Koch.
Yes. Item number 2 on the agenda is the approval of a motion summary of the Historic Preservation Commission meeting held on April 27th, 2016, as recorded and transcribed.
Mr. Chair, if I could interrupt, we probably should note that Commissioner Coleman isn't here and we expect him to be here, but the minutes probably should show that he's not here and then when he arrives.
When he comes in, if he makes it in, I'll write what time he came
Yep.
in.
Okay, thank you.
Have you all had an opportunity to review and check over the minutes from April 27th? And are there any corrections or additions? Anybody say anything dumb they want to retract? Hearing none, I have a motion to approve the motion summary for the April 27th, 2016 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Hatton, seconded by Ms. Riviera. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Mr. Kehoe,
Yes.
Mr. Nicely,
Yes.
Ms. Riviera,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Hatton,
Yes.
Chairman Koch.
Yes. Item 3 on the regular business agenda is application 2015-1725. This is a request by JTAC LLC for a certificate of appropriateness for building improvements at 18 and 20 West William Street, which is Zone B2 in the Central Business District and located in the transitional sub-district of the Downtown Historic District overlay. Do we have a staff report?
Yes, we do. And as you had mentioned, the property is located on West William Street, north side of the street, between Franklin and Sandusky. It is zoned B2, Central Business District, and it is located within the transitional sub-district of the Historic District overlay. And here is the aerial. And a brief history, the home was built, local history indicates between 1865 and 1866. And apparently during the 1970s or 1980s, it was subdivided into 2 or 3 commercial units. It was originally built as a single-family home. And there are 2 rear brick additions, which more than likely formed a central courtyard setting at one time for the home. The current owner, who is here tonight, purchased the building in 1999, and over the years has invested his monies in its preservation. His hair salon and spa services currently cover the entire first floor. And the second floor had been renovated into a residential unit with new kitchen and bathroom facilities. As you can see, the photo from the 1950s shows the front porch with a second floor balcony and columns. And then in the 2001 photo, you see that balcony and columns of that front porch have been removed. And in 2005, the current owner approached HPC to have that porch and balcony and columns reinstated. And also in 2012, the owner did extensive masonry repair work to the front, back, and the alley side of the property. The east side of the building was covered by 14 West William. And as you know, HPC has become very familiar with that property over the last 2 years. 14 West William was the former West End Grill. It went out of business in 2013. The property became vacant and was sold at auction. It was subsequently condemned and then later demolished in 2015. So consequently, the east elevation of the owner's building became exposed to the elements after about 130 years. And in addition, that side of the building sustained damage from the demolition. And the owner is here tonight to present a proposal for repairs and general improvements to the building. Okay, the first item would be the east elevation brick and masonry restoration. And the restoration work would be for the main building and for that rear addition as well. And he has retained an experienced mason who has worked with historic buildings in the past. The proper mortar would be used, and any missing or broken bricks would be repaired. After the demolition, there are 4 window openings that were revealed, and they on the interior of the building, though, these window openings have been walled over for many, many years. And so the windows themselves have been lost to history, but those openings still remained. And according to our standards, when we have the revealed window openings, we still want to, you know, give a nod to their existence. And so it's proposed that the bricks that are currently in those window openings would be relaid and either set back or in a herringbone pattern, so you can still see that those window openings were there at one time.
For the recording, I think we should note that the 4 window openings you're talking about on the east side of the building have been bricked in completely.
Correct.
At a previous time.
Yes. Okay, the second repair item would be the second-story soffit repair. When 14 West William was in existence, the 2 roofs were literally spliced together. And so when the building was deconstructed, that spliced section of roofing was removed, and unfortunately taking some of the soffit and soffit material with it. And so the owner intends on repairing and replacing the rotted wood and recovering that soffit with the white aluminum fascia and vented soffit panels to match what is on the rest of the building. Okay, the third item, this is in regards to the east rear brick addition. And the owner is proposing a roof replacement. Again, with demolition, that rear roof was damaged, along with the soffit that, again, was spliced into 14 West William. And in addition, the roof itself is basically beyond its useful life. Now, the owner is proposing black asphalt shingles. And staff is supportive of that proposal because on the main roof of the house, there are black asphalt shingles in place. And the addition is at the rear of the building. And then staff would also like to offer, being that the home is in the transitional sub-district, which is the transition between commercial and residential, and being that the home still has that appearance of a residential home, staff feels that asphalt shingles would be appropriate, as they are an material in our standards for residential. And this addition sits at the back of the property, so it's not on the main streetscape for this building. And then lastly, the fourth proposed improvement would be on the west rear addition extension. And this is on the alley side of the property. And this is a 12 by 12 wood frame addition that I'm not exactly sure when it was added to the building, but it is not original to the building. And like I said, it's wood framed and it's vinyl sided, and it has been a target of wayward drivers coming down that alley. And the owner has repaired and repaired and repaired all of the damage to this building, only to have it hit one more time. And with it being hit so many times, that has also compromised the structural integrity of the building, or that addition. And so once again, staff, is recommending its removal. There's no apparent historical significance to it, and doesn't appear to have any historic architectural features to it. So staff does recommend agreement with its removal as well. And then after its removal, the owner is, thinking about using it as a possible parking area, considering that is an ongoing issue in the rear of the building. And he knows that he needs to talk with the planning staff regarding all of the regulations in that regard. And so in conclusion, we wish to support the proposal. Again, it's an unfortunate circumstance that the owner had sustained damage to his building because of the demolition of 14 West William. The masonry and soffit work will stable that east wall and improve its appearance. The east rear addition roof replacement will repair damage from the demolition. And again, the asphalt shingles as materials would be an appropriate choice. And again, the removal of the rear addition extension on the west side, that would improve that particular appearance and help with continuous repairs from being damaged. And the city wanted wants to commend the owner for all of his efforts and the investments that he is proposing to make.
Thank you. Do the commission members have any questions for staff? Note that the applicant is here. Would you care to come forward and identify yourself and participate?
Sure. I'm Jack Cahayan. I own JTAC LLC, which owns the building at 1820 West William, 1999.
Commissioners have any questions for the applicant?
I have a bit of a question. You're going to do all this work to that side of that of the side of your building there. Do you have any kind of agreement with Mr. Manas or whatever that's going to build that, if he's going to touch your building ever again? Or, I mean, is there any concern about them undoing what you're doing?
Well, at this point, nobody's doing anything.
Okay.
It's been sitting there for a while, and I don't know. I figure eventually somebody's got to come to the neighbors and let us know what they're going to do. I saw a proposed plan or so, but I got birds living in the side of the building now, so I don't want to get crazy and like overdo it, because there might be another building built right there. I just want to shore it up, make sure it's nice. Now, I did see the initial proposal was to do something set back, which I thought was interesting, to set it back. And that's why I thought at least the front two windows that were there, it probably would be decorative and nice if we did something in that area. More in fact, like I have inside my building, it would kind of complement it. And from the first proposals that I saw, it would probably just show the first two upstairs and the downstairs windows, and the back ones would be partially exposed. I don't think it's going to be much of a different cost to set them and reset them the other way. And I'm open to anything. I just want to make it look nice.
Are you saying you intend to reopen and install windows in the first and second floor openings closest to the street?
No, resetting them in that with brick and that herringbone look, so it would set it off and make it look like there was a window there, and using the same bricks and put them back in. It's just an idea, and I thought it would probably make it look nice since it's already like that inside the building. And but my question would have been the back two windows, the upstairs and the downstairs windows in the back. The initial proposal shows for the 14 West William to have it set back, and it would only expose those windows partially. But I figured just do them all, and if we end up covering it all up, I guess it's going to be covered up. But I just shore it up. I guess I just don't know what they're doing.
You might want to look at it, entirely up to you. Certainly, resetting and changing the pattern would be great. It's going to be more money. Generally, as you can see, what they did was they used a different brick, oftentimes kind of a fill brick. It may be by the time you get them clean that you might find that they stand out quite a bit anyway. Obviously, you've got some spalling bricks that need to be replaced, but I don't know that I would have a preference one way or the other as far as the, because it looks, I certainly believe, I think when you get these clean, you're going to find, at least my eye looks like they're much more orange than the other ones. They're probably going to stand out anyway.
Let's see when they clean it.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll show differently, and that's fine.
Right.
Not really.
Other than, so on this east elevation, then really what you have is it's mostly up on the soffits that the damage you've got. Obviously, it needs to be repointed and cleaned, but I've obviously been in your building. I've looked at it. It doesn't look like there's any bowing or any water damage that went down inside.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, good.
I mean, that wall looks pretty darn solid. That's it looks better than the back portion that we had it on before. So the original ones, there's a little bit of a gap between the main building and the back building, which I thought was interesting. But
It might not have been originally, who knows?
it looks like it, though. I have no
Just
idea.
settled.
But yeah, it's just time to get that cleaned up. And when they figure out what they're doing with it, we'll figure out what we'll do there.
And then on your little vinyl-sided addition back here, I don't remember, is there a door passage from the interior?
Yes.
So you're just going to turn that into an exterior door then, I would assume?
Yeah, I mean.
And have them
probably
repair
what I'm
any-
gonna do. I mean, there's a lot of ideas. The main thing is, from what I understand, if you give approval to take it down, I've got a couple years to actually do it, and maybe at that point, I mean, parking's the easiest thing to do right off the bat, but I've got ideas that I could kind of make it so that I'll still preserve a little bit of parking, maybe have a smaller space. And even to the upstairs, I did thought, since I did occupy and live upstairs for quite a while, it'd be nice to have a master bathroom off my back room there. So the idea of maybe put a master bath upstairs, an office in the back, maybe an 8-foot extension. I didn't bring it to you because I don't have anything written up, but I do think it does need to come down. It's been hit so many times. I used to complain about my neighbor's building looking like it needed to come down. I got the same thing going on there. So
Yeah, I mean, my personal thought is I don't think we're losing much if we lose that addition.
I'd like to raise a couple of issues regarding the herringbone, the proposed herringbone pattern. As a person that likes historic buildings and a preservationist, I fear that that's going to look kind of contrived and non-original, and you're going to lose bricks because there's an angle involved and you'll be cutting. If I were doing this for myself, I would just set the brick fill back in 3/4 of an inch or an inch and just continue the horizontal brick pattern. I think it would look less contrived and more original. I don't think I can command that, but it would be cheaper. I think it would look more historically appropriate, and it would still suggest, with the inset and the inevitable change in brick color and texture, it would suggest that those were originally windows. And the other issue that I'm concerned about is the appearance of the rear north-facing brick wall where the frame addition is going to be torn off. Are we specifying any treatment for that resulting brick wall that has been covered for many years? Can you tell what's under there, what they're going to find?
brick. I mean, I chipped away on the inside interior wall, and it's just got plaster laid up right against the brick. Sort of like what I had inside. I took off all the plaster on what would be the east wall interior. It came off nicely. It looked nice. I mean, it didn't really do anything to it. Just left it the way it was. It looked really good. So I figure it'd probably be the same deal there.
You're going to find places where the roof was attached and flashed in. There may be cuts in the brick. There may be tar. Is it your intention to clean that up and make it look like the rest of the building?
Yeah, I mean, we have another roof line back there already. I mean, you got a higher angled pitch behind there. There's something else built there before. I don't know if the picture shows it as well, but yeah, I mean, I want the brick to look nice and just as cleaned up as possible. But as far as the rear door, I got a couple doors that aren't even functional, you know. Well, yeah, you can see the outline up there.
Kind of a ghost.
Yeah, my intention would be just to keep it cleaned up and safe from the weather, and then when we decide whatever we're going to do down the line, we'll be meeting again.
What's your reaction or attitude to my suggestion about just recessing the bricks and keeping the horizontal lay pattern.
I'm good with that. That's like, I don't know how much it saves me or whatever, but I mean, I did that on the inside too, and I figured just to have some continuity to it. I've seen it throughout the neighboring areas, and it almost looks like it's, I don't know, you go to Pittsburgh, everyone's got glass block and they have a certain pattern to it, and I don't know, it just kind of looks like, hey, this was something that we were doing at this time, might be historic in another 50 years, and they say, look at what were they all doing then, you know, making it all that way, I guess. I don't know. I don't have a real love affair one way or the other. I did like the way it looked. I do want it to be set back, like maybe an inch or quarter inch, whatever, just so it recesses a little bit.
Generally, in my experience, it should probably be more than half an inch and less than an inch.
Gotcha.
It's just because the bricks are 4 inches thick and you need some stability. That's just my aesthetic preservation suggestion. The other issue is, do we, as a commission, feel strongly that the roof replacement on the remaining brick addition be asphalt or fiberglass shingles versus metal, which it is and probably has always been?
Match the roof would be a good idea.
Match the roof on the main house.
Yeah.
Which was probably metal at some point.
It was at some point. I think it's shingles now.
No, yeah, I know that.
Was it? It would have been metal back then?
Yeah.
Probably.
It's hard to tell. I mean,
Well,
With that low of a pitch, I don't think it would have been slate, so it probably would have been
it
metal.
wasn't the one I got, because I think
No, I'm sure they,
when we came in,
Took
we
it
put
off.
new roof on everything. So we had a new roof on the side, except for the metal ones, and then the top portion needed roof because there was water coming through the top on that when we bought it. So, and I did know I came here on that too, because we had to make sure, I was totally new to town, I didn't know what we had to do, so.
well,
It must have been
obviously,
shingled before I bought it, and we put new shingles on, so
Yeah.
the upper roof is, I'd say it's been 20 years on.
well, I think you certainly have been a good
Yep.
steward of this building.
yeah, they obviously wouldn't have, they didn't have asphalt shingles when it was built, so it would have been metal, slate, or shakes. Given the very low pitch, generally they're metal because slate usually doesn't work very well, but, which is probably why the back is metal. But I know in the past that we have had some situations where one of the things we look at, Jack, is the view from the streetscape. And we have had some weird, I don't want to say weird, but unusual situations where some buildings have multiple streetscapes. I can think of one across the street that came in front of us because while they had one street, they were on a corner, so they had one street, two street, and they had a city parking lot, which is open to yet another street. And as you know, behind your building is a very busy place. But with that being said, I don't, at least in my opinion, if the main house still had the metal roof, I might think differently. But given that the size and the scale of this, I don't really have a problem with the asphalt shingles. I mean,
It was already-
metal will last you 100 years, but it's going to cost you. So I'm sure you know.
I just had trouble getting people that would be, because of the damage done to it, and quite frankly, the insurance company, well, we'll fix this much, and then I had
Yeah,
to
you
battle
almost-
them to be able to say, well, they can't get the same type of material because the same material, they don't make that. There's different types of metal roofs now. So it was a little bit of battle, and then insurance company only came so far, and the contractors I had said, well, you know what? If you can do this roof, we got a better guarantee on this roof than the metal roofs that we put in. It's lifetime, blah, blah, blah. It's rubber, whatever. It's shingles, but it's their best, whatever. And they said, we can get it to you at the price that you can afford it. So I didn't want to spend any money at this point anyway. So now that I have to, I'm kind of limited to what I can do, so.
Right.
Well, it is a rear addition, and the roof is not particularly visible from the street.
The only thing I would ask, Jack, is that you kind of, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I've been back there, and it certainly looks like, if you look at your other addition and you look at that roof, at some point, it looks like what somebody did was took a saw and cut up the bricks and tuck the flashing in rather than do step flashing.
I hear you.
Now, your old one has, the one you're talking about replacing the roof has step flashing, but that's all going to come out.
Okay.
So my only, and I don't think we need to put it in the motion, but just as a request for you, make sure they put that step flashing back. Because it's kind of I don't want to say it's a lost art, but it's a lot easier for contractors to just take a saw with a concrete blade and cut up and tuck it in and smear a bunch of goo on it than it is to go back and, yeah, that's what I'm saying, like that or like that. And if they replace that, you won't have any leaks. It'll last 10 times longer than your asphalt will, and it'll cost another, 5 hours of labor or something.
I misunderstood what you said. Don't replace what's existing there?
No, do replace. So on the brick addition, if you look, step flashing, they cut into the mortar and overlay, so it steps up,
Yeah.
right? And back in the day, they did copper, lead, but most of the time now they're going to use like a galvanized
So
metal.
I asked them to do the same type of step
Yes.
flashing on there.
Because it's easier anyway, because once they pull that out, the pointing's going to be gone.
Okay, I got
So, but is again, if you look over at the other one, the quick and easy way is just to
Yeah.
chop it in and cut it, or don't even cut it in and they just stick it on and then you'll have leak problems.
So you're
for
thinking
forever.
that the other ones actually the brick might be in better shape because they didn't.
No,
right? They cut
no,
it.
it'll be in worse shape because they cut it.
Oh, they did cut it and just stuck it.
I can't tell from the photo. They did one of two things. They either cut it and tucked it in and gooed it in, or they just put it up there, maybe sank some screws in and smeared tar all over it.
Gotcha.
Kind of depends.
What's your best guess?
Well, it's a metal roof, so who knows?
Okay.
Um,
So ask for the step flash and they go back in.
yeah, or they'll put new metal in, but ask them to do the step flashing. And then when you take off that other, you'll probably have your mason back out there anyway, but he may have to replace those bricks.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, and that's kind of what my brick is hard, to get the same brick anywhere, and that's why sometimes by doing, I thought was like for herringbone, I'll have more brick because it doesn't take as much brick, and I'll have more brick to fix other brick that's there. And that's kind of what my thought process is on that too.
Yeah, although you can already tell that the brick in the windows doesn't match
Yeah.
exactly
No, I'm good with that either way though.
your brick, so it's not like you can take those and use them on the back
Yeah.
invisibly.
Those are different.
The other thing that you could, on these windows, I would reuse the brick, but you don't have to. You can buy new brick if you want. I would recommend, like a vintage clay brick, but your mason probably has a pretty good stock of some of this stuff. Most of the guys do. So like if you look at these where this top ones are spalled and crumbled, some of those are going to have to be replaced anyway. But I'm assuming he or she will probably have some. And I just question on the soffit, it's just wrapped. You're not putting like the ventilated aluminum soffit. It's going to be wood soffit and you're going to just wrap it with aluminum, correct?
Yeah, I just want
Okay.
matching what we have there, and then I
Yeah,
got it painted the front. It's gonna
Yeah,
paint it
that's what I
straight
thought.
back.
I just wanted to make double check on
I
that.
think the soffit that the photo shows at the rear of the second floor is aluminum,
Black.
flat white aluminum soffit.
Mhm.
And what about on the front? Is that
It's the same type of we painted it.
on the front of the building up above the quarter trim?
It's all the same. It got ripped out. We never saw that before because the other building, hit it.
Right.
So the front's been painted, and once the new one goes in, we're gonna paint it all the way around the back, all the way to the back there. At least until I figure out what we're doing in the back.
Is it painted white currently, or is it more of kind of a cream color? I can't quite tell.
you gotta get me, I'm forgetting the name of it. I just had it repainted. We painted the same colors as ever before that we were okay on. Kennebunk Green was one, the name, and the other was Chesterton Buff, or, and so we just matched and put that back in. So that just got repainted. It lasted pretty good. We had 15 years out of it, 16 years out of it.
Oh, nice.
Well, what's the pleasure of the commission?
Before we move ahead, I actually had one clarification, probably from the other commissioners. There's a term I'm simply not familiar with. The last sentence on page 3 of the application where it says, in the century-old stone foundation will be re-tuck pointed. Can someone clarify what that actually entails when it talks about tuck pointing?
Yeah, so the mortar in between bricks or rocks, it's actually called pointing. Tuck pointing is actually kind of a misnomer. So when they said repointed, that's actually the right way to say it. But you hear tuck pointing used, one and the same. But so in some cases, what they have to do is you'll see them use a saw to cut out old mortar.
Right.
Other times they can chip it out. If you look on here where they do say they'll use a type O lime-based mortar, because the newer concrete-based mortar will actually then cause the bricks to break because it's harder than the old bricks. So it's good to see your masons on top of that. So that's what that's what he's doing there.
That clarifies.
Yeah, and like I said, a lot of times sometimes they hand scrape it, other times they have to take a saw in there, but like around here, all these where it's all gone and then down the foundation.
These older bricks are fired at a very low temperature 100, 150 years ago, and they're quite soft. And the mortar in a brick wall has to be no harder than the bricks. And so the mortar in these old walls is very soft and mortar without any Portland cement in it to make it hard. If you put hard mortar in these old soft brick walls, then the water that gets in the wall stays in the wall and follows the brick out and leaves the mortar. And that's how you get these recessed bricks that disappear. Any other questions?
None from me.
Someone want to take a stab at a motion?
Sure, I will. I move that we approve HPC 2016-1725. I think we had some informal suggestions, and I don't know if anybody wants to put in. Now let me step back before I make the motion, just to ask. Roger had talked about windows. It's in here, but is that something that you, Roger, feel that you absolutely don't want to see a herringbone pattern? Do you want to put that in there? Because the staff has recommended either will be removed and relayed with matching brick and contrasting herringbone style brick pattern to maintain. Do you want to add or recessed or take out the
How do you feel about that?
herringbone? And
I want to recess it. I'd like to do the herringbone just because I think it has some continuity from the inside that I did. Because when we expose that, it would just be continuity for the building. That'd be my preference. But you guys might end up okay in a building that covers it all up too. So I'm just sitting there like I'm not gonna split hairs over it. I might, if I want herringbone and we get it in and then they cover it up. I mean, what's the point? So.
Is it big enough a deal for him not to have the option?
Well, I think
I don't feel that strongly about it.
No.
If it was my building, I certainly wouldn't do the herringbone, but
I like him having the option.
the only thing I can say is that we haven't done it in the past, and we do have some buildings that have. I can think of. I don't know my addresses very well, but the one that overlooks Amato's Plaza and the corner plaza there has some ghost windows. And what you did, Jack, is something that you see in, what's the right word, faux construction, for lack of a better word. So faux historic that you might find in Dublin where they've done that, and then they fill that in to kind of make it look like, hey, it's such an old building, there's not a window here anymore. But that isn't historically accurate. And the trust and our regulations, I don't really call it out, but essentially what the Historic Trust asks you to do is to kind of what staff's wording is, that you want to acknowledge that a window has been there, essentially. So you don't want to, hey, let's take this whole wall down and erase history, but you don't also want to say paint fake windows or put fake wood frames with mirrors in, or, you know, create a mural. And so I think,
So it's at least offensive, but it's still not like keeping it like historic, or how do I say, preserving, like this is how they filled the windows, but we're saying one step would be, okay, we're gonna recess it a little bit, maybe we wouldn't have done that.
Right.
Or two steps, now we're gonna do this, it's still brick.
Yeah.
But and then you're going to other extremes, like, hey, we're gonna put some type of mirror in it, or a mural in it, or something.
yeah, so historically accurate is what you have.
Yeah.
You know, they used some different brick. Usually it wasn't even a face brick, put it in there, done. And my assumption would be they put that in when the building next to you was built.
Yeah.
Because that's when they said, hey, we don't need these windows anymore, let's fill it in.
You have one of the oldest buildings downtown. I mean, and it's in a very visible location. And my suggestion is that you kind of rethink the herringbone, but I don't think I'd put it.
Okay.
If I were making the motion, I guess I wouldn't put it in.
All right, so just informally, real quick, before I make the motion, did any staff, any commission members have anything that they want to change from the staff recommendation? Okay, if not,
I'm fine.
then I would move that we approve staff HPC 2016-1725 as submitted.
With the staff recommendation.
Yes, that I think goes with as submitted. Yes.
I'll second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
I'd like to thank you all for coming out tonight for this one.
We haven't voted, I don't think.
Hearing further discussion, call the roll, please.
Mr. Kehoe?
Yes.
Mr. Nicely?
Yes.
Ms. Riviera?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Hatton?
Yes.
Chairman Koch?
Yes. Thanks for taking care of one of our oldest buildings, Jack.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
Beautiful building.
I love it. Be nice to
Thanks
have
for coming out tonight, right?
ever finish it.
Well, we hope that you end up with something next to you that is good for the whole neighborhood.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the, that's the truth.
Well, yes, the guys bought it, right?
Yeah.
Right. So maybe we'll do something with it. I don't know if they submit any finals back.
Not yet, haven't heard.
All right. Thanks again.
Hey, have a great night.
Item 4 on the agenda is commission member comments and discussion. Are there any? Is there any?
Good.
I don't think so.
I'm here.
Have we made any progress, Diane, on some of the questionably compliant patio fencing installations and oversteps of the suggested designs?
That has been the hot topic of the week. Yes, and yeah, we're making arrangements to mobilize enforcement procedures. And I'll be getting with the department director, and we're coming up with a game plan of how to approach and review each patio that we do have in place.
So we had some discussion about doing like some permitting, like you get a patio permit, that kind of thing, because, you know, so we don't have to keep continuing someone's patio or.
Well, each one of those patios,
There's actually an official thing that they fill out.
well, there is.
already do
Okay.
Every one of those dining patios is the result of supposedly complying with regulations that it took us nearly 2 years
Sure.
to write.
I guess what I was thinking of, and I'll retract, but like, was the vestibule permitting.
Yeah, that's,
It's a temporary
Oh, I was
sidewalk.
thinking maybe a
That's a
temporary
separate-
vestibule permit.
Well,
Yeah, that's a separate.
my point was, we've been so successful in the rejuvenation, revitalization of the downtown district that now sidewalk space is at a serious premium, especially on Friday nights, but on almost any night at dinner time, there's a lot of traffic on the sidewalk. And the patio fencing that we put in 15 years ago, to encourage downtown customers, it's almost gotten to the point where it's a safety obstruction. And there's not much that we can do, it seems to me, to retract some of the permit or make them move once they're put in according to standards. But some of the installations downtown are a far cry from what the design suggestions were in the original legislation. And I know that they've been so successful, and we have so many of those patio installations now, that owners are beginning to look at, some fences are built 6 inches over the property line, some of them are a little further out, some of them are higher than the design standards suggested, and then some of them have planters that hang out right at face level that are too with plants flowing. And I don't know that we can afford to have these obstructions. It might be difficult to change a properly installed patio fencing system, but the ones that, it seemed like it'd be easier to start with the ones that weren't installed according to the permit process. I guess I'm delighted that there's so many people downtown that these things that we put in as inducements to come downtown and dine out on the sidewalk are now obstacles that the chief of police wants the streets closed on Friday nights because there's so much foot traffic downtown.
We should turn into a pedestrian mall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Whole thing. You're right.
At least Friday and Saturday. And we'll give them a week here.
Well, isn't it more
Walkway right
that
down the middle.
fold up
Trolley.
sandwich boards that
Oh,
are causing
yeah,
yeah.
more problems than the patio? Isn't it?
That's another example of extra legal inducements that we came up with rules for allowing in order to encourage a little bit of visible advertising for downtown merchants. And now they've been successful that those sandwich panels, I think, are a public hazard.
Well, some of them, it's not the panels, it's the placement.
Yeah, just depends on how much
Like
sidewalk you have.
Each
There's,
individual.
like I said, there's one I can think of that's always a bottleneck. but that's
I
about-
might even know that when I think
No,
about
I said the
it.
word, it's-
But
Personally, I don't think it'd be a disaster if we just outlawed them again like they were before we passed a regulation and allowed. But
I need to know what Witt's flavor is before I walk down there. Or what barley is. Yeah.
To go in.
Well, it seems sort of odd to me to create all these venues where the businesses all people down, and then you start pulling them back. I don't quite understand that, because the whole purpose is to have a vibrant, busy, crowded downtown, and if it's First Friday once a month, and it's super crowded, or almost every Friday, I think the benefits far outweigh
I agree.
dodging around here or watching where you're walking. You know, I just don't like,
Kick those signs down if they get to their ears when they're.
Okay.
but that's only my feeling.
Our side won't stay up if there's a breeze, so.
And I would think I would walk under all of the planters. They're not going to.
Yeah. I'm used to running into stuff, so.
Any other comments or discussion?
Well, I would like to note that I will not be at the July meeting. I will be on vacation.
That's not authorized.
Well, I'm going anyway.
Skype you in.
She mentioned there's a possibility I won't either, depends, I might be traveling for business,
It's a revolt.
We may not have a meeting,
but
so
we'll
it may
see.
not happen.
I'll be letting you know very soon.
Maybe we should just all do it.
Yeah.
Should we put Coleman on double secret probation? An official rule.
They'll call that show.
Basically, what we've done in the past is if they call in and let staff or me or somebody know on the commission that they're not going to be here so that we can be prepared for them not to be here,
Right.
then we excuse them. If
Yes,
they
I know.
don't, then we haven't.
And just a response to that email that you sent out, like, hey, there's a meeting, you just respond to that to everybody or something like that, is that? Okay. 'Cause I've had them do that one time, but I wasn't sure, I never got an okay. So it was just like, well,
Going anyway.
either I'm gonna stay on it or not.
We made it.
Stock your pay.
Strike one.
Okay, the next regular meeting, if we have one, is scheduled for July 27th, 2016. I have a motion for adjournment, please.
So moved.
That's second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I think that makes us adjourn.
All right, say July 27th.
Thank you.